Yeah, now it's recording with no issues. Hello, and welcome to everyone. It's the end of the month, it's Memorial Day weekend, and it sucks outside, it's not nice. And that's also why there's not much light coming in from this side. I just have, like, my one lamp. But yeah, let's, talk about video games. I bought video games this month. Starting with, the first item from Derek wanted stuff from a wholesale order from our nice, cool place that we have that has all kinds of old sealed product. It's Mr. Pants. What the fuck is this? It's Mr. Pants is from the time period in the early 2000s when Rare was owned by Microsoft because they had just been bought, but because Microsoft didn't have any handhelds, they were still allowed to make Game Boy Advance games, which included Banjo Pilot and such. And it gave us this really weird puzzle game with a character that they made up called Mr. Pants. I dropped it. I'm not super excited about playing a puzzle game. I just really did want to own this because I could get this sealed copy for like $25 for myself, and I was like, oh, it's Mr. Pants. It's Rare. It's got the Rare logo on it, and it's this title from Rare that like nobody knows about, and it's just very interesting. It's interesting part of Rare's legacy, for sure. That's the only Game Boy Advance game. Let's move on to PlayStation 1, which there's a couple. I think I hit all five PlayStation home consoles today. A little bit of everything for that. Starting with Frogger, a nice clean copy of Frogger for the PS1, ignoring this little crack on the front. I have Frogger 2 for the Dreamcast, and I'm not super into the PS2 GameCube era of Frogger, but I was thinking to myself, like, I have actually played this game when I was a kid, and there's a little bit of nostalgia factor in there, and just getting a nice copy of it, I was like, yeah, I'm into it. I will take that for my collection. Related in some way to the game that I'm playing right now for N64 Quest, this is where the NBA Jam franchise went before they did NBA Jam 99 when completely revamped it and Acclaim owned it. Whereas I am playing the pure good side of what happened with NBA Jam after the sort of Acclaim Midway-Williams split. This is NBA Jam Extreme, which I had put off getting for a long time because I know it's not that great. But it's the first like full 3D NBA Jam that came out for the PS1 and Saturn. I've never expected much from it, and so if I ever get around to playing it, which I might do, even if anything, just a direct comparison to what they did with Showtime. But this is before they like really revamped the series and did it as a sim first with the sort of arcade mode attached to it. This is still the arcade style, like, predominantly. It's just not done that great, and I've never really heard a lot of people say too many good things about it. But it's in the NBA Jam franchise and going to be worth a look. Next, finally for the PS1, my turn-ons include games that shouldn't need a double jewel case, having a double jewel case because they have gigantic-ass manuals in them. And this is Triple Play 97, which I've really never seen 97 before. I never see this come along. You see 98 through 2001 all the time on PS1. I've seen here and there Triple Play Gold, which is a long box one, and I think I actually played that one as a kid. I don't think it was this. I think I remember playing that at somebody's house when I was a kid, Triple Play Gold Edition on PS1. But I learned that Triple Play 97 had a big double jewel case, despite being a one-disc game. Right there. And this is the second PS1 baseball game that I will own now that has a double jewel case despite only being a one-disc game because of the manuals. And that's fucking great. It's so goofy to me that they go for that. And when I got this actually in the mail too, there was a little bonus kicking around in it. a disc only of Triple Play 2000, which I've heard nothing but good things about the PS1 version of Triple Play 2000. It is not the same game as the N64 version, so I will have to give that a try sometime soon. I never really felt like I wanted to get the PS1 Triple Play 2000 because it still would have felt like I owned the same game twice without really caring that much about it. If I'm going to play those, late 90s basketball games, I'm consumed by basketball right now for fucking N64. But if I'm going to play those late 90s baseball games, it's going to be Ken Griffey stuff. And I have more than enough of that on the 64. But I didn't really ask for it, but this would be a nice little double feature thing if I ever get around to playing the PS1 baseball games I have. Next from the sealed product wholesaler, this is a 2.5 word title, Charge and Blast. Charge and Blast from Zycat Interactive, a game that I have actually genuinely never seen in person before. And it's not because this is repro, which Dreamcast has so many repros and homebrews now. This is genuinely just a original release Dreamcast game from 2000 or 2001? 2000. That is, run and gun like shooter type game. Not amazing or anything like that, but an interesting little title for the Dreamcast that I never see it. I just never see it come around. I've seen plenty of games from Zycat because the reason that you can get this is probably the same reason you can get Coaster Works and stuff because they really overproduce their stuff for the Dreamcast. But Zycat had their hand in a couple Dreamcast titles towards the end of it. They put their eggs in the wrong basket, and then they would continue to go on with original Xbox games and be the only people publishing RPGs over here for the original Xbox, which also never sold. Black Steel, I think, is the name of one of them, and Dungeon something. They're not even good. But this looks interesting enough, it's worth picking up, I think. Alright, let's go on to PlayStation 5. The first game in this stack is going to be a noteworthy little title for me for a long time, especially because I don't think I'm actually going to open it. But this is the physical release of Destruction All-Stars, which you can see I got this for $19.99. If it was more than $19.99, I don't think I would have got it because I already got it for free. And what I'm told, the player base is already not that great for Destruction All-Stars. They gave it out for free. They did it for 2 months. And I played a little bit of it, but until my friends have PS5s, then I'm going to play it with them. Hopefully, more people getting PS5s will kind of revitalize this a little bit, but then people also have to pay for it, so it just seems weirdly doomed for not great reasons. But because I already have it, and I might not even really play it that much more, I'm going to probably keep this sealed. I just wanted to own this for collecting purposes, and it probably won't gain value or anything like that. But this is also going to be the last purchase I ever make at Bull Moose, music, movies, and games. Because shit things happened with them in the location near me. And in solidarity with the workers there, I'm not going to buy from them anymore, ever. And also, it's been really busy at work because all of the trade-in that goes to Bull Moose has been coming to us. I'm exhausted. Next one of the big first releases for the PS5 that I was really looking forward to, and the only PS5 game I own physical that I haven't played yet, but Sackboy, Big Adventure, Sumo Digital doing a full 3D, like legit 3D Mario style Sackboy game that looks super cool. I've watched videos on this, and I said, yeah, that is the game that I want to play. It's going to be really cool. Just haven't gotten around to it just yet, but I want to soon. And I'll let you know what I think of that. I have pretty high expectations for it. Not unrealistically high expectations. I just have. I think I'm going to enjoy it. And then, of course, Resident Evil 8 Village Deluxe Edition with a steelbook. I didn't pay for the steelbook. It just comes with it because I order at Best Buy because it's the most convenient for me. And Best Buy makes all these steelbooks, and you get steelbooks with your stuff. I'm not a steelbook collector. I don't really care, but yeah, I have one. It's not that great. It's not flashy or anything. But Resident Evil 8 Village, really fucking awesome. Really, really, really good. I got the deluxe edition just because it was the when you're expecting to pay the $70 if you're going to buy a game at launch, and they give you a $60 option, but you are going to miss out on stuff if there is stuff you care about, I said, well, why not? I'll just get the, everything that comes with it. Hasn't really made a difference on me yet, but I am ultimately like, cool. I have the deluxe edition cover, and I have all the stuff that comes with that when I go back to it, which I probably will play this game again, just like I've replayed 7 leading up to it. And thank God I played 7 again, because it directly links to it, directly follows up. Was like really, really close up familiar with all the characters again, and this game was fucking awesome. I really loved it. It is, to me, is sort of like a Kill Bill 1 and 2, because it's the same character, the same set of supporting characters that aren't enemies, the same like first-person perspective, all that stuff. Really, really similar gameplay elements and control elements, and I think that as the 2 games over 7 and 8, it is the best 2-game stretch that they've had for the main series since 1 and 2 probably. And yeah, I will, in hindsight, I think that it's best to look at these 2 games as 2 separate chapters of one overarching story. And I really look forward to playing 7 and 8 like one after the other again. Because I think just playing 7 right before this, I think really laid a really good foundation for this experience, so that I didn't forget anything and I knew what was going on, and it was good. Definitely play it. Definitely get it. Anyway, moving on to a couple PS4 games here. I picked up Far Cry 5. Still have never actually played a Far Cry game that has really, really captured me, but I was really interested in Far Cry 5 for the setting and the story and stuff. And oddly enough, what put me over the edge to finally pick it up was, even though I'm not really watching the weekly programming for WWE, and I barely pay attention to it, Aleister Black returned to TV looking just like this dude right here. Just like him. And my friend actually said, speaking of Resident Evil, that he gave off more of a Jack Baker vibe from Resident Evil 7, which, me also being more into Resident Evil, I probably would have said too, but I do think he looks just like this guy. Yeah, anyway, so that's Far Cry 5. I do look forward to playing it. I think the story will be cool. But I don't have much to say about it right now, unlike with Resident Evil, where there's a whole, bunch of stuff to unpack from my experiences with the series. Next is It Takes Two, the second co-op focused game from Hazelight through EA. This game, I'm playing it with my girlfriend right now, where I want to say 3/4 of the way through it. This game is awesome. This game is, if you have somebody to play this game with, which you have to because you can't play it by yourself, this is just a phenomenal game. I really applaud what they've done for it, what they've done for the concept of couch co-op, or if you want to do online co-op, you only have to buy one copy of the game and someone can play along on your game. Really good puzzles, platforming, little bit of combat, but the combat never sticks around or doesn't stay the same way. It's a longer game than I was expecting, with a lot more. It really keeps itself fresh for the whole game too. It's a really long adventure with distinct sections, settings, and gameplay mechanics. They give you gameplay mechanics, but they don't let them overstay their welcome, and they take them away from you, and they give you a new one to work with. It's really cool. I feel like I'm almost done with it, but I have to recommend it to anybody who wants to play a game with somebody else. Play this game. This is a co-op first experience, and it is not like any other game that you've played co-op, unless you played A Way Out, which is the first game of this style from this studio. And I really want to play A Way Out, but now it's expensive because nobody thought it would be, nobody thought it would sell well, and they moved on from it. There's not enough copies of it. It needs to get reprinted. And finally, for PS4, Ghost of Tsushima. From Sucker Punch. I think I'm a little fresh in my mind from Sucker Punch from playing Rocket Robot so recently. So that was their first game. This is their most recent game. They're nothing alike. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. the rave reviews that I'd seen for it all of last year after it came out definitely piqued my interest. And even though I'm like every AAA release, especially new IPs, really starts to feel the same for me, and that's why I don't really get into one or the other of them. Horizon Zero Dawn was like that for me. I'd say the new Assassin's Creed games are like that, which I know they're different, and I do want to try them eventually, but like, I don't really expect them to grab me because that's just what they're like. Keeping up with GTA, which hasn't changed, but same idea. All these games have to be big, open world, go anywhere you want, uncover the map and stuff, and I'm like, that's cool, but like, they're all like that, and I didn't really think much of Ghost of Tsushima, based on what it was presenting to me, characters, setting, any of that. I wasn't really blown away by it. But my friend, who does not play games that don't involve driving, he just doesn't. He plays GTA. He plays, like, I remember being at his house, like, 6 or 7 years ago, and, like, every game was a driving game, and that's just how it was, and because he's into cars, and he likes that stuff. And I'm not saying, like, it's not that he's never played a game without driving in it, but, like, it's so rare because he doesn't play games that much, so he spends most of his time on GTA and stuff. And he said he played Ghost of Tsushima, and he 100%ed it. He loves this game. He is so into this game. He's like, this is one of the best games I've ever played. I can't get enough of it. I keep rewatching the cinematics, and I'm like, okay, you, the person who doesn't play a lot of games besides GTA or anything like that, played this game, combat-focused, exploration-focused, open-world, samurai game, and you're obsessed with it. You've sold me on it. I'm gonna try it, and I have tried it. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I need to keep playing it a little bit more to see if it's really gonna grab me with more of the mechanics as it opens up, because he's told me all about these things that I haven't seen just yet, so obviously I need to put a couple more hours into it to really make a good judgment. But yeah, it is an absolutely gorgeous game, I can say that without question. And yeah, at this point, me hearing about it and seeing the little bit that I've seen of it so far, like, believe it, like, believe that, you know, believe what people have said about it. So that's cool. That's Ghost of Tsushima. Still trying to give that PS4 send-off that I've been doing for months now, even though I already have a PS5. And lastly not lastly, but the only game for Xbox One that I got, Plague Tale Innocence, very much reminds me of, like, Last of Us, but, like, set in, like, plague-ridden France. Got a good, like, story and stuff to it. I've seen really good things about it, which is wild to me because it is partially associated with Maximum Games, who have never done anything right. And this is, like, their one, like, gem out of a bunch of trash. Really good story, really good setting, and like, atmosphere. That's what I was trying to say. Good atmosphere, good story, solid, like, control and everything. That's what I've heard about it. It's just that, like, oh, I had the chance to buy it on Xbox One. I'll pick it up because I've heard good things about it. God, I gotta play my Xbox One now. Okay. So we'll see if I ever get around to that anytime soon. But I'm glad that I own it because I had heard a lot of good things about it. Let's grab the Switch games now. First is Liberated, which is the most recent VGNY soft release. We got all these through the store. And at this point, I'm not going to not pick them up when it is like, people do their super rare games, people do the limited run stuff, which is way too much of. People do strictly limiteds. They have their sets going of these. I guess I have a VGNY soft set because there's only like 6 games so far. They don't come out that often. And I pay $30 for them through work. That's cool. I should talk about what the game is. Liberated is like a cyberpunk comic that is a 2D platformer. I think it looks cool with a good art style and everything. I'm not like crazy over like I have to start this anytime soon or anything though. So it's just like I'm not gonna break the streak of picking the games up. Hasbro Game Night for Nintendo Switch. Unfortunately, this doesn't have Scrabble on it, but it does have Trivial Pursuit, which is the main one that sold me on it. I have played the Trivial Pursuit. It's pretty cool. And Monopoly, which is not usually all that fun, but excuse me, we'll see what the presentation is like. And Risk, which is a game I'd like to learn how to play, but always when I start a game of it, I'm like, oh god, I don't have the brain power for this right now. But a decent little 3-pack set that you can pick up for under $20 now. And if you're into those games, which I am, I like to have those on the back burner. Definitely worth picking up. The presentation on them is solid, totally fine. Not going to detract from it. Deadly Prem Origins, the first Deadly Premonition game. A game I've tried to play like 3 times on 360, but I never stay with it. Maybe if I watch Twin Peaks, I'll have more of an appreciation for the setting and the storytelling style of this, and will stick with this game. Deadly Premonition, one of the most interestingly weird, almost a bad game, but an artistically bad game that goes full circle and becomes a good game. I couldn't be more interested in the idea that a game like this makes so many wrong decisions, like on purpose, and comes out of it with like a cult reputation like this. And I was thinking to myself that probably getting it on Switch would be a good way to keep trying it. I'd be a little bit more interested in playing it rather than on 360. And I never really felt like pulling the trigger on it, but it's under $30 on Amazon right now. And I said, you know what? I've now gotten both of the Deadly Prem games. The second one, which I think was exclusive, was it Switch exclusive? I might have been. So I've reacquired this game, and I've gotten the sequel for under $60, which is pretty cool. I'm going to, getting things for the Switch is always going to be my preferable method. So even though I already own this game, I'm glad to say that for less than a full price game, I got both games on Switch. Speaking of paying money for games, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This game got expensive because Nintendo apparently refuses to continue printing games that are really popular if they don't have Mario in them. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2, much like the first one, going up in price, and I'm convinced that even though I haven't really played them, that Xenoblade is a series of RPGs that I may actually enjoy because they're gorgeous to look at, and they're big and they're open, but like the combat is supposed to be cool. So before it got too extreme, I was happy to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and maybe I'll start with this one, maybe I'll start with the Wii U one, maybe I'll start with it on 3DS, I don't know. But I have them in my collection, and that's kind of important at this point. And lastly, for Switch right now, Cadence of Hyrule, that's Crypt of the Necrodancer, featuring The Legend of Zelda. I wasn't really sold on Crypt of the Necrodancer by itself, even though I do like rhythm games. But when they said that it was good enough to get a Zelda crossover with it, I was like, okay, I'm interested in the Zelda crossover. And if I really, really like the game itself, it's not very expensive on... I kind of did it backwards, because like I could have tried it for like $4 at any given point with the original on the eShop. But I decided to be like, well, I'll buy the Zelda one for like considerably more money on physical and see if I like it. And then if I like it enough, I'll pay $4 for the regular one. But yeah, it's a pretty resounding endorsement, though, that Nintendo gave them the rights to use Zelda in their game. So, and it's also going to make me enjoy it a little bit more because it's going to be Zelda music. So that's definitely a good thing. And, oh god, we've got stragglers here. Infamous 1 for PS3, also a Sucker Punch game. So that was on my mind, and also the fact that people went crazy over PS3 stuff. I realized I didn't have Infamous, and I was like, that's kind of weird. I know why I didn't have Infamous, though. If y'all remember, like, way back ages ago, like 10 years ago, Sony had a cybersecurity breach with PlayStation Network accounts, and they basically, as an apology, they let you download 2 games out of like 5 or 6 games that they offered. And I think the no-brainer for most people that hadn't played it yet was to get Infamous. And I got Infamous, and that's why I never bought it for my collection. But it was always cheap for a long time, and I was like, why don't I just have Infamous, though? Like, I have Infamous 2, and I know I like Infamous, and I played that when I got it, but I just never owned it. So now I do. It's kind of like shouldn't you have the good exclusives on physical for your collection, like, especially when they're cheap? One Xbox game, Worms Forts Under Siege. I definitely enjoy Worms, like, the series, but I never play it that much, and the reason I don't play it is because I'm always convinced that I have to wait until I play the one that I spent all my money on, Worms Armageddon on 64, because I was like, yeah, you have to enjoy that first before you enjoy any other game in the series. I don't know why I have that, but like, it's put me off of playing Worms games until I do that game for the N64 quest. This is a weird one too because this is one of the 3D ones. They did Worms 3D, which had or spread out like it's Worms originally is 2D on a 2D plane that goes up and down and wherever. But this is full 3D and you have like forts to build up. So it's a different formula. It's published by Sega too, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, Team 17 has done a lot of good things over the years. I like them. I probably will enjoy the Worms games when I start to play them more. But for now, it's just wait until you reach Worms Armageddon on the N64 quest, and then jump off from there. Minecraft for the Wii U, the one big game I never had on the Wii U for a long time, because I didn't really think I cared about Minecraft, but I still really don't. But it's the one good game for the Wii U that I never had yet. So eventually, I knew I was going to pick it up. I just had to have patience until I found it for $15, I think, which isn't bad. And the last game from the wholesaler that I got sealed, this is MotorStorm Arctic Edge. One of the games that's gotten really extreme on PS3 with people going hard on collecting for it is the MotorStorm games, which the second and third ones, Pacific Rift. I'm trying not to say Pacific Rim because it's not what it's called. Pacific Rift, I think it's called. And Apocalypse, those got really expensive. They were $15 to $20 games, I think. But then they've really exploded. And this one was actually one that I was really interested in because this is the PSP and PS2 one that they did after the first one. So it got its own little one concept separate game that was for the older systems. And also Arctic Edge it's not on PS3. It's pretty cool though. So I've always wanted to pick this up. I think this is $10 for sealed copy. It's pretty cool. And then lastly, this game might not even work, I realize now, because it's a cardboard box EA Genesis game, which means it's a really old one, which means it's also from the time that they didn't make cartridges that great. My experiences with a game called Zany Golf on Genesis have soured me for the most part on paying too much for any of these games. But I did like the box is very nice. I like that it has the font of Blockbuster on all the sides and starts with the word block. It's called Blockout, and it's basically, if you've ever seen 3D Tetris for the Virtual Boy, that's what this game is. Not on the Virtual Boy. And done 6 years before. So interesting little puzzle game with wireframe perspective because it's on the Genesis. I'll have to check that out at some point if the cartridge works. Cool. So yeah, this very weird and meandering trip through a little pile of games from a month that seemed really, really long. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but I kept looking at the calendar. Wait a minute, what day is it? Because I haven't done a pickups video in a year. But apparently it was a month, and it felt like the pile got really big because it felt really long. But yeah, that's what we got. A couple Switch, a couple PS4, a couple PS5. A little bit of everything this month, except mostly handheld stuff. I only got one handheld game. It was a Game Boy Advance game. But yeah, anyway, cool. I'm gonna play NBA Showtime for a lot of my afternoon, and that'll be cool. Bye.